Italy was the first country to announce they would send a warship to essentially escort the Gaza SUMUD flotilla. With the 50 ships of the SUMUD now less than 150 kilometers from Gaza, Italy pulled its warship out, saying it did not want to get into a diplomatic altercation or incident. Obviously, they meant if Israeli ships rock up to the party uninvited, Italy doesn't want to deal with that. It kind of reminds me of Harry Potter, where the chosen one, not God's chosen people, the chosen one, Harry Potter, made a dive for the snitch during a Quidditch match, and his rival also made the dive, and then near the end the other guy pulled off because he doesn't want to go face first into the ground, and Harry pulls off much later, and he pulls off a sick backstep broom ting. Okay, anyway, back to the news and the analysis. This Italian warship reminded me of that because they didn't have the stomach to stick around for longer than they stuck around. Italy's Prime Minister went further, even called on the flotilla ships to stop, turn around, and go the heck home, saying it was irresponsible, dangerous what they were doing. What she claimed, the Italian Prime Minister, that the Italian state could do in just a few hours. These people, these civilians, were risking their lives in a perilous journey to do the same thing at great cost and great risk, something the Italian state apparently could do for them in a few hours, deliver certain amounts of aid. Yes, Georgia, if any governments wanted, they could probably at a state level try and deliver aid to women and children with no food. But this is the world we live in, isn't it? The governments do nothing, where civilians are having to take the place of governments and say, screw it, I'll do it myself, and try and take some sort of stand. What little they can do, because other civilians are having food literally withheld from them by the occupying power. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, many are saying, is chatting baloney. Sorry, I had to, because it rhymes with Meloni. Anyway, quote, sooner or later, someone will have to explain why our Prime Minister attacks the flotilla more harshly than she ever did with Netanyahu's massacres. End quote. That's not my words. That's Democratic Party leader Eli Schlein in an interview with La Repubblica on Sunday, an Italian news source. Italy, as with many countries, is going through huge unrest among their citizenry because of their government's action or inaction on the Gaza crisis, and with the civil liberties, at least for the time being, in European countries quite high. People here can protest. They can go out into the streets and say, yo, our government sucks, bruv, fix up. You can't do that in, the Gulf countries or in China or Russia to the same extent, for better or worse. I'm just analyzing the situation. I'm not saying those countries are worse off or better off. It's just certain things you can do in certain countries. In these countries, you can go and protest for all the good that does, and it actually, a lot of the time, does do good, right? It does push your administrations. It puts pressure on the administrations to move in the direction of the people who are demanding something. For now, though, the world continues to watch relatively helplessly, or as bystanders, right? Making a nice tidy circle around the kid in the middle getting beaten up, and his the bully is backed by a bigger, fatter bully, orange in complexion, and everyone else is just sort of standing around the side doing nothing, just looking at each other. You gonna do something? I can't do something. You gonna do something? The world watches. Warships hover, Israeli ones, Spanish ones. Italy pulled its one out. Greece can't be relied on, as they said, we only cover Greek waters. And Libya even sent a hospital ship in case anyone needs medical treatment. Now, the Libyan ship, by the way, great name for a Libyan ship, Omar al-Mukhtar. Omar al-Mukhtar, look up, if you're interested, The Lion of the Desert. It's a very interesting anti-colonial story there. And of course, more low-key, Egypt and Turkey have their ships floating about in the region, and Bayraktar drones floating in the skies, or flying about, you could say. All eyes, essentially, are on the Sumud flotilla. Will they make history? Either way, yes, they will make history. But will they make history by breaking through this blockade, or will they be boarded by Israeli commandos that have trained hard to face these civilians? Every branch of the Israeli military basically has to fight civilians. That's pretty much their bread and butter, their stolen bread and butter. So all eyes are on the Sumud flotilla, including mine, and I'll report to you as and when I get the updates. Go to BBC, though, for example, and I found on their website no mention of the Sumud flotilla at all on the front page of about 20 articles that you can look through. I'm looking on a desktop. I guess for some outlets, state-supported outlets, you could say BBC, TV license in the UK goes towards paying for the BBC. Keeping the people informed, keeping the citizenry informed about a bunch of civilians basically making history to try and break through a blockade that is causing people, including children, to literally starve to death. Yeah, that's not important to the British people. Pish posh. BBC thought, don't worry. We have you covered, right? Here's some front page articles. I'll give you 3. Quote, The Simpsons movie returns for a sequel. Oh. Quote, red alert issued for Ibiza after streets flooded with rainwater. Oh no, how are the partygoers going to party go? End quote. And ended quote a while ago. And then the final one, quote, Lady Gaga serves mayhem. Oh snap. Sassy, I think. I don't know who Lady Gaga is. But she's serving something. Now this is why I'm here, guys. This is why you're here, right? For the news and the analysis about the stuff you care about. Unbiased and without the Western spin. I'll see you on the next one.